Hello and welcome to Bellow Field, the new home of the Tufts University Jumbos men's soccer team as they take on the Plymouth State Panthers here on a cloudy Sunday afternoon. I'm Matt Macy Phelps, joined by Charlie Driver with JumboCast. Thank you for tuning in. Charlie, what are you looking for in this game?
I think this should be an interesting game. Yesterday, for the Jumbos at least, we saw a real reversal of their early season fortunes. They had gotten off to a rough start. They had lost 2 games and drew 1, and yesterday was their first win in their first home game. And they had a really dominant performance at that game. They won 3-0 over the Bates Bobcats. And meanwhile, for Plymouth State, yesterday was not really as rosy of an afternoon. They ended up getting shut out 5-0 against UMass Boston, which could be a deflating loss. And so they need to really try and bounce back. And meanwhile, Tufts needs to try and assert themselves even more. And something's got to give here. And one of these teams, barring a double overtime draw, is going to walk out of here victorious.
And it's been Gaston Becherano, the senior forward for the Jumbos, number 10, who put in 2 goals yesterday in the 3-0 win at home against Bates. He leads the Jumbos for the year with 3 goals. And on the other end, it has been junior Nick Rutherford, who has 3 goals of his own, the forward out of Australia.
And that's a really impressive performance so far this early season for Nick Rutherford. If you look at his scoring stats in the past few years, he had, I believe, 6 or 7 goals last year in 17 games, and so he's almost got half that in only 5. So if he can keep up this prodigious pace, he can really carry this Plymouth State team to great things this year.
And this Plymouth State team, very international, with over half their starting lineup coming from nations such as Sweden, Norway, Australia, and Venezuela. So quite the spice up for their lineup here.
I tell you, it gives me an interesting experience with the pronunciations for some of these names. But we got some help from some Plymouth State fans, so we should get everyone's name down right. And we're about to see the kick here. So
yeah, we ask for your apology. We ask for your forgiveness if we mispronounce some of these names here, but we'll give it our best. And it'll be Tufts kicking away here with Halliday and Becherano up top. And they go to the left.
Yesterday in the really number 11 role, which is uncharacteristic of him. He's the nominal number 10 on the field. But in the absence of the top scorer from last year and second leading scorer in the NESCAC, Nathan Majumder, someone had to step up, and it was Becherano with the brace yesterday.
And that's out for a Plymouth State throw. And no foul call, and it's eventually given. Foul by Tanner Jameson, the freshman left back for the Jumbos.
Jameson recently been playing quite well in that left back position. We saw him yesterday switch off. Chance there.
And in the middle, that was Jerry Rudolph, the freshman forward. They played the long ball to Adam Edmonds.
Yeah, we saw Jameson fill in for the graduated now Moniel Patel and Connor Shable on both flanks for the Jumbos. So it's 2 new fullbacks. Sterling Weatherby seems to have made that right back position his own, and left back Tanner Jameson's been winning starts over Stephen McMillan.
And in goal, making his second start for the Jumbos this year, is Bruce Johnson. He started in a 1-0 loss for the Jumbos at Gordon College. And after sitting out against Bates, he's back in, replacing Scott Greenwood, the senior.
It's an interesting decision because Greenwood played very well yesterday, given he didn't have much chances to deal with.
Kevin Halliday plays it in with the left foot, and it's right to the keeper. And it's booted up.
It's a nice long drop kick there that Felix Lindeberg has. That could be a dangerous weapon later in the game to start quick counterattacks if the Jumbos overcommit up the field.
And lost in the midfield by Halliday. And one right back. But jostling for position there is Jerry Rudolph. And the Jumbos come away with it. Rutherford working it around the middle. Turned over.
That's a poor mistake there from Plymouth. It sets off Gaston Becherano in a very good position there in the final third.
On the left wing, working on Dan Shaw. Cross in with the left foot. And it couldn't be corralled there by Kevin Lawson.
But that's good instincts from Kevin Lawson. Getting into that box, he saw that there was no one there and filled the space. And almost got on the end of that one.
Quick throw. Crossed in again, this one towards the back of the box, and a one-timer from Kolsar. That'll go out for a jumbo throw on the right side.
Good defense from Plymouth State, just being in the right place at the right time.
And Sterling Weatherby right back taking the throw. Pretty windy afternoon here. And ball bounces across the box. Halliday heads it back. And headed out by Shaw. And from the top of the box, shots ripped off a defender. And the rebound sends it. And it goes out across the goal line. So early opportunity there for the Jumbos.
And that was great work from Gavin Tasker. We saw it yesterday in the game, and it's what he's been doing all season. He plays nominally on the wing, but as the second striker in relief of Bescherano, but he will cut inside at any opportunity, and he can be very dangerous if he gets on that right foot.
So Tasker's shot deflected. Bescherano with a chance. Off balance, couldn't get it on target. In the middle, it's Kevin Halliday. And Kevin Lawson with it. Tries to find Bescherano, but it works its way to Kolsar.
Jumbos have had a lot of issues converting good chances this season. Going into the game yesterday, their shot conversion rate was 0.018%, and while they improved it a bit, netting 3 goals, there were still countless chances they missed in a game that they completely dominated from start to finish.
And a great touch there from Lawson. Gets to Bescherano, but from no angle, it's an easy save for Felix Lindeberg.
The Jumbos could be fancying their chances against this Plymouth State defense. Having let in 5 goals yesterday, they're letting in around 2.6 goals per game, which is quite a high number for a defense in this division. Jackson Nadger there, who we saw just on the ball, he stepped in for Daniel Sullivan, number 11, who started the game yesterday and played most of that time. Nice dominant physical performance, but must be getting a rest today as Nadger, the sophomore, steps into the lineup. May also be an attempt to get more of a physical edge because having the ball now, Nadger is 6'5" tall, which is quite a large man.
Jumbos with possession in the middle, but it's lost on the ball up to Bescherano.
Not really taking any breaks here, the Jumbos. Very high pace. You see Tanner Jameson takes no.
And it's in the box now, but played right to the goalkeeper by Lawson.
That looked like a bit of a combination of a shot and a pass there from Lawson. Had the velocity of the pass, but the direction of a shot. Here's Kevin Halliday in a dangerous position.
And it works its way out for a goal kick. Good defense there by Rutherford.
So we're 7 minutes in here, Matt, and you have to say it's been all Jumbos. There was the one chance for Jerry Randolph right at the birth of the game. The freshman from Malmo, Sweden, almost got a shot off, and I think it was deflected. But other than that, it's been the Jumbos besieging the penalty box of Plymouth State.
Yeah, Tufts so far using the wings and the midfield to work the ball up. They haven't had the final touch yet.
It's good work by Nadger to play the ball out from the back. Really helps an attack if you can get that surefire connection to the midfield and start switching into an attacking mindset.
Kolsar plays a long ball, and it's touched well there by Tasker. Chips it up, and headed out by Edmonds.
Just needed a tiny bit more on that to beat out the grad student Adam Edmonds.
Tasker again with it. Plays it to the goal line. Tries to send it in. That'll be out for a corner kick. So nice run by Tasker.
That's really well defended there by Chris Parody, the sophomore from Manchester, New Hampshire. Almost won a goal kick out of that. He'll take the corner, though, as opposed to a goal or a shot on goal.
Kevin Halliday, the in-swinger, sends it high by the penalty spot and eventually cleared there by Paradis.
Coleman got on the end of that, but he just didn't have enough power on his shot.
And the Jumbos work it out to Tasker, now on the right wing.
It's another one of Tasker's good traits. He can play on either side of the field.
And he works it to the corner, plays it off Edmonds. And looks like foul called on Tufts in the corner.
And even the non-Europeans on this team, Matt, look like they're European. Chris Parody, I keep thinking he's one of the Swedes, but he's in fact just from Manchester, New Hampshire. He's got that long blonde hair.
And a good step from Micah Peterson. Out to the right wing now with Luigi Villasmil, the freshman. He has it in the middle now. And a good step by Nadger. But one back by Randolph.
It's a poor pass from Parody. Just got pressured, and here's Bescherano on the break.
Good ball from Lawson.
He's got Kevin Halliday down the field.
Lays it off, and a great tackle there from Edmonds.
It's a potential goal-saving tackle there from Edmonds. Really impressive. But Jumbo's still with it.
Lawson on the right wing. He's got an option, and he'll take it inside and plays to Bescherano, but didn't quite have enough weight on it to make it a through ball.
Great idea from Kevin Lawson, though. Really is great vision.
Weatherby in the corner. Crosses in low. Diving header no from Lawson. And it's with Villasmil.
And that's a terrible ball from Villasmil. Decent idea to try and find Randolph, but you really have to execute better. He's just given the Jumbos back the ball, and they've already got men up the field to attack with it.
And Yusa tackled hard there. Foul called on Zach Halliday.
Halliday said in an interview with the Tufts Sports website that he prides himself on winning every 50-50 ball, but it seems like he missed that one there. Here's Kevin Lawson initiating a counterattack after an interception.
Plays it to Bescherano on the left. Goalie comes out. Bescherano tries to chip. Saved.
Oh, great effort by Bescherano. Jumbo's still with it.
Lindeberg coming out, making the save, and that one rolls
By Felix Lindeberg. His line, getting his body. They're having a lot of success, the Jumbos, finding open space in that defense of Plymouth State. Panthers are leaving a lot of room for Gaston Bescherano to make runs behind the defenders, and the Jumbos are exploiting that with a lot of through balls, as we've seen. See, looking at that, Coleman is completely unpressured when he's just kind of striding up to the halfway line, and he has all the time in the world to pick out that long ball, and it didn't quite come off there, but the more he tries, the better he'll get.
a big size advantage for the Tufts defenders in this one.
And even they could bring in some substitutions later in this half to get a size advantage on offense too. Brett Rojas on the bench is very tall, as is freshman Joseph Braun. A real true target man.
Villasmil's ball is deflected. And the Jumbo is unpressured in the central midfield. Lawson now. switches it up to the
quarterback of this team. He
there from
if anything, so
wing. Turns, cuts on his left foot, asking for a penalty on the handle, but the defender was way too close there, and hand was in a natural position.
That's a really good example. No one really forces the issue with Kevin Lawson there. No one on the back line for the Panthers decides, oh, I'll step up and try and pressure him and try and take away that shot. And it gets blocked in the end, but they could be kicking themselves if one of those got through. The closer you are to the attacking player, the harder it is for him to get the ball past you.
Bejarano with a nice tap on there.
It's really nice from Gaston Bejarano.
And cleared out of the box by Parody. And foul called on the Panthers.
This will be a chance for the Jumbos to get their big bodies up.
So the Jumbos bringing everyone forward here. It'll only be one behind the ball.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to keep Tanner Jamison right back there to just guard against Juan Rivera, the forward from Bedford, New York.
Weatherby pops it up. It's at the top of the 18, and foul called on the Jumbos.
Might have been a bit of pushing there. That was a really good opportunity wasted. But also, if you look at the ball, the flight of that ball, the crosswind is affecting it a bit. It's blowing against the Jumbos in that situation, and it deadened the flight of that ball.
Yeah, not very threatening from Weatherby there.
The way Bellows positioned as well, there's always going to be wind here. It blows in all sorts of directions, and it can really change the game up. There's Nadger with the header out to Lawson.
Coleman plays it down to the right wing.
It's a nice idea from Coleman.
And Weatherby can't quite control it with the header.
Just a bit high for Sterling Weatherby, the sophomore. That's good pressure from Gaston Bejarano. That's what I'd like to see the Panthers doing more of. Force the turnover, and here's Kevin Halliday.
On the right wing, working on Edmonds. Plays it with the left foot, and a great ball, but saved by Felix Lindeberg. That one was going right to the back post.
He got in there to the no-man zone between the goalie and the back line. And if any Jumbo had really been able to pick that up and make the run, that could have been a goal.
And Halliday with a ripping shot off the crossbar. So Kevin Halliday inches from goal there.
That volley not as good on the second attempt. But that's the closest that the Jumbos have come to scoring since Gaston Bejarano's chip about 10 minutes ago.
Velasmil has his ball deflected, and it's Lawson there with the crafty footwork. Kevin Halliday in the middle. Wide open in the central midfield here. And his run is stopped short.
Good idea from Kevin Halliday, though. He's looked dangerous so far.
And they'll call the foul on Halliday for running into Dan Shaw.
Felix Lindeberg takes the kick. He's from Stockholm, Sweden.
And Zach Halliday finds Weatherby going down the right wing. Tries to play it to Kulsar, but he'll be out for a Tufts throw.
The Jumbos are really blessed to have two midfield players with incredible amounts of vision. As we see, this will be Brett Rojas coming onto the field.
For the Jumbos, number 29, Brett Rojas.
Looks like he's going to replace Kevin.
So Rojas moving into the attacking midfield, or he might be up as a forward in this formation.
Brett Rojas is a sort of, as we see,
And a shot from Lawson that's saved by Lindeberg out for a corner kick.
just a little too straight. He wanted to get it a little over to Lindeberg's weak half, the more exposed part of the goal, but he shot it straight at the Swede. Brett Rojas is kind of a hybrid midfield forward player. He'll just make driving runs all day, the kind that Kevin Halliday was doing. But Rojas has even more physicality than the younger Halliday. It'll be Tanner Jamison taking this corner.
And the in-swinger sends it right by the goalkeeper, and it's cleared out.
Looks like Lindeberg got a tiny bit of a hand on that. That really helped his team.
And Juan Rivera couldn't get on the end of that ball from Yulseth.
Rivera's got to really do better than that. You don't want to give away possession, a chance of possession that easily, and his defense may need a break after the real, just how up in their faces the Jumbos have been this entire game. 20 minutes in.
Weatherby down the right. And Hongisto gets it up to Villasmil, but that ball's cleared out for a Tufts throw-in.
And you've seen it so many times already in this game, but Kevin Lawson cannot, he's not giving up the ball at any end.
Veterano's crosses in. Tasker with the ball at the 18. And an outside of the foot shot there, curling from Rojas, and a save made by Lindeberg.
That's what Rojas does really well. He waits around the edge of that box, and if it falls to him, he's very willing to take a shot. And he has nice technique, as we just saw there.
Najjar getting the header. Villasmil gets double teamed and works his way around it.
Vital stop there from Zach Halliday. Looked like Hongisto was getting away with that.
And a shove there, hard in the back.
Yeah, can't do that as much as Nick Rutherford thinks that was okay. The forward definitely fouled the Jumbos there.
And a foul called on the Panthers. Gavin Tasker winning that. And Jamison almost getting a cross in, but cleared out for Tufts throw-in.
Really takes a lot of nerve for Dan Shaw to make that tackle there. A lot of times you see that end up in a penalty with a lesser execution, but really handled it well.
Weatherby brought over from the right side to make the throw-in.
Jumbos really value the long throw.
And headed out for a corner kick by Micah Peterson.
Later in the game, we'll probably see Christian Zazali come into the midfield at some point to spell some of these players, and he has the longest throw on this team, and it was a real dangerous weapon in the game yesterday.
Brett Rojas, the in-swinger. Jumbo's crowding the 6. And it's right to the top of the 6 and picked up by Lindeberg.
Good physicality from Lindeberg, asserting himself, making sure that was his ball.
Rutherford leading the counter, and it's tracked back by Becherano coming all the way back.
Becherano just showing his pace there.
And poor clearance by Johnson, but it couldn't be controlled by Yulseth there.
Yeah, poor clearance, but poor control from Yulseth. Could have been a dangerous turnover.
Kalsar in the middle. Good layoff by Tasker, and the ball goes up. Shaw tracking it down. And Becherano will let that out for another jumbo throw-in. Weatherby's throw met at the top of the 6 and hit it away.
Went to the one part of the box where there were no jumbos.
And Weatherby's ball headed out by Shaw. It's Tasker now on the right wing and doesn't quite corral it. So
A little bit of a freshman mistake there from Gavin Tasker, and we're going to see a substitution for both teams now. It's like Joseph Braun coming in for Gaston Becherano.
and for Jumbo's Christian Zazali coming in for Tulsar.
Number 29.
Eric Jungloff is coming in for the Panthers, and coming off is number 23, Truls
Now
Yulseth.
entering the game for Tufts, number 12, Chris Gonzalez.
Excuse
and
me.
Number 8 for Plymouth State, Eric Jungloff.
That's Joseph Braun coming in as a striker to replace Gaston Becherano, who we'll probably see again in the second half.
And offside called immediately on Joseph Braun.
I think that's out of bounds, actually. That ball might have curved back in. Not the greatest ball we've seen from Kevin Lawson today. And not the greatest ball from Nadger either.
The wind's really affecting these.
Yeah, that'll go all the way to the baseball field.
And a good step from Halliday. Halliday dictating the tempo in the middle.
Halliday and Lawson can combine to form a really good midfield center for the Jumbos. Speculative ball from Weatherby, but nothing going.
Lawson looking to cross, plays it low to Braun. And Edmonds tracks this one out.
Not a lot on that 1-2 there. Double change for Tufts.
Looks like Zachary Trevorrow, freshman, coming on.
Now entering the game
That'll be
for
Zach
Tufts,
Lane coming on as
number
well.
14,
We're going to see
Zachary
Gavin Tasker go
Trevorrow,
off, and also Kevin
and
Lawson.
Number 17, Zach Lane.
Zach Lane will take his fellow freshman Gavin Tasker's position up front, and we're going to see Trevorrow come into the central midfield to partner with Zach Halliday.
And Braun getting bodied there by Shaw. Advantage played. And Trevorrow on the left wing. Looks to Zazali, who goes down. And Trevorrow with a hard shove there, foul called.
Trevorrow will play on the left side of the midfield in a more attacking role. So it'll be Zach Halliday as the central midfielder, and just ahead of him will be Christian Zazali playing in a more attacking role. And on the right side we'll have Zach Lane.
And over Coleman's head, he misinterpreted the wind there.
Nadger's clearance hit Randolph there, but it'll still fall to a Jumbo's player. That'll be nicely cleared by Weatherby.
Braun now.
Showing off that great physicality he has and playing in his fellow freshman Lane.
Lane with the one-time cross, a dangerous ball. And a foul called on Trevorrow. The clearance from Micah Peterson as he was brought to the ground. And a little skirmish going on here as Lindeberg shoves Braun. So we'll see if the referee decides to pull out the book in this case.
Doesn't look like he's going to go to his pocket yet. He's bringing over Braun and the other players now, but
So it'll be Braun and Parody brought over by the referee.
kind of all came out of nothing there. Little tensions boiling up. We're about 30 minutes into this game, and the Jumbos, despite having the ball in the final third for probably 60+% of the time, have not been able to get a goal here. No cards in the end. Referee content to just make it clear that anything after that will result in a booking. Maybe to the regret of the Jumbos fans who were calling for a red card.
Panthers throw in. It'll be taken by Edmonds. Or maybe Rutherford.
It's like Edmonds wanted to take that, but it was vetoed. Maybe Rutherford has a long throw. Yeah, looks like it.
And that's headed out by Braun.
Edmonds tried to chest that down, but Braun was there to challenge.
Peterson's ball goes in. It's Villasmil, pops it up, and Johnson bobbles that at the edge of the 6 and eventually comes up with it.
Johnson got a bit lucky there. Can't afford to let that drop in a dangerous position. If any Panther was on the end of that, that's almost always going to be a goal.
And Lane can't quite find Weatherby where he wanted it.
Didn't seem very sure exactly where he was.
Good ball from Lundloff.
Good defense from Weatherby there. And poor control from Lane, who's not looked that bright since he's come on. He's misplayed a few balls.
Braun controlling.
That's Braun's real strength, his hold-up play. Back to goal, he can just use his physicality to pass it on to someone.
And it's switched up to Lane on the right wing, working on Edmonds. Weatherby's cross, deflected out.
Good defense there from Juleseth, the Norwegian, just getting his body to that and putting it out for a Jumbo's throw.
And cleared out by Hongisto. But back with Trevorrow on the left. Sends in the lefty cross that goes out for a corner kick.
Jumbo's still yet to really threaten from a corner kick.
It'll be Rojas again.
They'll bring up the big guys. Coleman coming up, Nadger coming up.
It's low and sent out for another corner by Peterson. Rojas again, this time a little higher. And headed out this time by Lundloff.
Maybe the
or
third
Younglove,
time.
excuse me.
Maybe the third time will be the charm for the Jumbos here. Rojas will try it again.
Yeah, Eric Younglove, we've been mispronouncing that. A high cross this time, and that goes past everyone. Edmonds sends it up.
Randolph is pressing where he's around, but I'd like to see the other attacking players for the Panthers press a little more.
And Jamison tracking it down. Randolph hot on his tail. And a misplay there from Johnson, but it's saved.
It's good work by Jamison to keep that ball in. And that's unlucky to hit Braun. Could have been a dangerous ball.
Rojas staying with it. Brings it to the goal line, crosses in low, and it's cleared out by Parody. Another Tufts corner kick here.
And it looks like Stephen McMillan is going to come into this game for the Jumbos. He'll replace Tanner
Entering the
Jameson.
game for Plymouth State, number 6, Mark Harrington.
There's
And
the
entering the
London
game for
native
Tufts,
Mark Harrington
number
coming in.
5,
He'll
Stephen
replace Jules
McMillan.
Gulseth.
Rojas sends it a little high this time and punched out by Lindeberg.
Don't know if I needed to go for the punch there. Had a lot of time. Ball wasn't really challenged by any of the Jumbos players.
Rutherford controlling. We haven't seen him too active in this game. Not much possession for the Panthers so far, as Azali intercepts and plays to Trevorrow on the left wing. Braun regaining control.
See, that's example of good pressure in the attacking third. Braun just winning the ball back, but he was dispossessed there by the substitution Harrington.
So some back and forth on possession. Neither team finding a final ball here that'll put them up in the scoreboard.
That's why we've played 35 minutes of 0-0 football.
And that's Lane cutting into the box.
Nice touch
And
around, but Lindeberg has it covered.
just a little too strong there.
Let it roll away from him a little too much. Beat the defender, but also beat his own pace.
Lane, and he's fouled on the back there by Rutherford.
Rutherford, we talked about him coming into this game. The forward, he's played more in the midfield and hasn't really been able to do anything in an attacking sense, other than do a bit of defending and fouling. It's been the story of the day for the Panthers. They've defended well, but that's all they've done.
Now entering the game for Plymouth State, number 3, Harvest Perez.
And Harvest Perez, the sophomore forward out of Walpole, Mass, comes into the game.
He'll replace Luigi Villasmil.
And booted down the left side.
Randolph has the pace. Can he use it to beat McMillan? Well, he could, but ball went out of bounds before that happened. Here's Stephen McMillan on the throw-in.
And might have been a hand there from Trevorrow. And Weatherby just beating Edmonds to that ball. Coleman with a poor pass, intercepted by Younglove.
Had all the time in the world and picked the one pass he couldn't make. Here's Rutherford. He's still with it.
And dispossesses himself as Weatherby clears.
They seem to have figured out that Lane has a big pace advantage on that right side, and they're playing the ball to him at every opportunity.
Lane to Zazali, but that one with too much weight on it.
Zazali might have been able to get to it, but he pulled up a bit short. If I was Josh Shapiro, the coach for the Jumbos, I would have maybe liked to see a bit more effort there.
So heading off there was Harvest Perez shortly after he came on. And it's
It looks like he's feeling the back of his hamstring there. That's not a pretty sight for Coach Rob Wright.
Yanni Stanchioff coming on, the junior forward.
So we saw earlier in the half the Jumbos were really asserting their dominance and producing a lot of chances, keynoted by Kevin Halliday's stinging shot that hit the crossbar, but they've not actually done that much after that. Really settled into defending here. The Panthers, they've figured out what the Jumbos are doing. It could be down to Josh Shapiro making some important words in his halftime team talk.
And Rojas called for the offside there on the ball from McMillian. Jumbo's really missing Nate Majumder's presence up top, having to go with younger options. And Stanchioff chasing that down, but Najar lets it roll out for a goal kick.
Bit much for the Camden, Maine native to get on the end of there. Again, Connor Coleman with all the time in the world to pick out his pass, and the pass he picks out is a pass back to his goalkeeper, Bruce Johnson.
So just 6 minutes remaining here in the first half. Still 0-0 between the Jumbos and Panthers.
Not been a lot to it, Matt. The Jumbos have attacked, the Panthers have defended, they've cleared it, and then we repeated it again and again, and Tufts is yet to break through. It's kind of a return to their form. In the opening few games, before yesterday's 3-0 demolition of Bates, they just weren't converting any shots. They only scored 1 goal in 3 games, and they didn't win any of them.
Halliday up to Lane.
Lane tries to just pass it on for someone who isn't there. Seem to have lost a lot of creativity in taking Kevin Lawson off the field. He was really their creative mind, and now they've been missing on that final ball, creating a dangerous chance. Just hasn't been happening.
And Braun chasing that down, getting past Shaw, one-on-one with the keeper, and might have been pushed aside there a little by Parody.
Not enough in it for a penalty, though, Matt. That was just Braun took a bit too heavy of a touch, and it should have been a bit more out towards the sideline in order to get around the goalkeeper. Instead, his touch took him into the goalkeeper, and Lindenberg, to his credit, collected it easily.
Halliday with a good tackle there in the midfield.
But that was good work from Joseph Braun to create that opportunity. Just couldn't finish it at the end.
Lane. Push down hard by Rutherford. And Braun's ball intercepted. Cleared out by Shaw, and Najar with the push in the back.
Yeah, clear push there, definitely a foul. Najar can say all he wants to the ref that he didn't foul Panthers there, but 99 times out of 100, he will not get the benefit of the doubt. Lindenberg might try and take this long here. That's delivered deep. But that's Trevorrow's all the way. Not a good delivery from the Swede in the goal. There's Braun again.
Working on Sean now.
He's been a lot better in these last few minutes. He's making stuff happen, making runs.
Halliday switches fields to Weatherby.
So
And it's a high ball headed by Rojas, back post, but it's wide by.
just didn't hit it with the square of his head. Hit it with the side a bit. It glanced off. Wasn't a clean hit. so he didn't really get a good driven header
Now
on goal.
entering the game for Tufts, number 7, Dexter Eichhorst.
And Dexter Eichhorst, the junior midfielder, comes on for the Jumbos in the dying minutes of the first half.
Eichhorst was an attacking revelation in the game yesterday. When he came onto the field around the 80th minute, the Jumbos were only up 1-0, and he, with his work, he basically created Becherano's second goal and then scored the third one for himself. That'll deflect off Braun for a goal kick. I thought he would get the start today. Josh Shapiro knows more than I do, and so we're just going to see him have this little cameo now and maybe start the second half or come in later.
Rojas coming off. So a minute 40 remaining in the first half.
And you have to think that Rob Wright is going to be the happier of these two coaches going into halftime. The Jumbos have had the lion's share of chances here, but haven't converted any of them. And the Panthers have made them really lack any sort of offensive bite.
Coleman heads it up. Eichhorst losing possession. And it's switched over to Rutherford on the left wing, defended by Weatherby. Rutherford double team now. He'll have to play it out. And it's stolen by Lane.
Never really had a chance. 2 to 4 Jumbos at any given time. And here's Braun on the counter.
Eichhorst with the solid ball up. It's Braun working to the goal line. Crosses in, but no one's home.
Wasn't much of a cross, and there was no one there even if he had delivered a good ball. It looks like the Jumbos will go into this half without scoring a goal.
And a foul called on Stanchioff, fouling Weatherby. So the Jumbos draining out the final 10 seconds here of the clock.
9,
And we'll go into half.
7,
Jumbos
6,
dominating possession,
5,
but no
4,
goals to show for it
3,
as Eichhorst
2,
tries to get it in the
1.
box. So thank you for joining us here. It is halftime, 0-0 between the Tufts Jumbos and Plymouth State Panthers. And welcome back to Bellow Field for the start of the second half between the Tufts Jumbos and Plymouth State Panthers here. 0-0 in the first half. Tufts dominating possession. Had a close shot from Kevin Halliday rip off the crossbar from about 25 yards out. But other than that, we've seen both teams with some half chances, but nothing too threatening for the goalkeepers here. Charlie, what were your impressions of these players here?
I think it was sort of, how do I put this? Well, the Panthers are a weaker team than the Jumbos, and they know that, and Tufts knows that. The Little East Conference is not necessarily as strong as an SCAC, so the Panthers are totally content to just kind of sit back and defend, and I think they'll take a draw from this game. But the Jumbos are just going to press and press and press, and they keep getting denied by Lindeberg, and they'll have to change that if they want to have the result that Josh Shapiro wants them to have.
And Eric Youngloff up top for the Panthers with the kickoff.
I'll be interested to see how much the Plymouth State actually tries to attack. They didn't really try and attack much in the first half. They
Quick
might have to in
interception.
the second.
Quick interception from Lawson, and it's out by the Jumbos.
So a wayward pass from Kevin Halliday just put a little too much on it. Couldn't find his teammate.
Edmonds trying to get out of the corner.
It's a dangerous position for Tasker to receive that ball.
And a rip there.
Ooh.
And nearly an impressive goal there.
Looked like it hit the uprights at the back there. Really nice shot.
Maybe the Jumbos should just pepper Lindeberg with outside shots in this one.
You know, they say, Matt, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And pretty much 95% of the shots that you do take, the way this Jumbos team has been playing.
Tasker up to Halliday, and he's shoved down. No foul called.
That was more of Halliday running into the opposing player than it was a shove. So correct call for the no foul, and a good header out by Coleman there.
Peterson's throw intercepted.
Couldn't find Randolph. Both teams seem a little rusty here. A lot of misplaced passes in the first minute and 45 seconds.
Colsar in the midfield. Up to Bescherano.
Bescherano score of 3 goals for the Jumbos so far. He had 2 yesterday, and he had 1 in the first 3 games, the only goal in those first 3 games for the Jumbos.
Lawson now.
Colsar with the side volley, but Lindbergh always had that. But again, the Jumbos look dangerous. They are creating these chances, but right now they're all outside the box. All speculative shots. And maybe you'll have a wonder strike at some point during the game, but the more surefire thing is to actually work the ball in the box or cross it in from the sides.
Lawson and Halliday working together. Halliday on the wing, one-time cross, and it's way too high past the goal.
Yeah, that's a bit of a mistake from Kevin Halliday that he'll be ruining. That was a good position for the Jumbos. They had men in the box. He particularly has misplayed a bunch of passes and had a few heavy touches so far, and he'll look to recover from that. Maybe he'll get some encouraging words from his brother, Zach, the captain of the Jumbos team today.
And a foul there by Parody on Halliday.
Just pushed Halliday in the back there while Halliday was trying to collect that ball. This is a good position for the Jumbos too. Zach Halliday to take the free kick.
Coleman. Tasker lets it through. And that's cleared out.
And if you look at the Jumbos now, they're so convinced that the Panthers are not going to try anything that they had at that moment all 10 outfield players in the opposing half. And if you see it again here now, Nadger's just crossed the halfway line. They're not really considering the Panthers a threat for counterattacks or anything.
Bescherano trying to play it to the back post and could not find Lawson in time. Scooped up by Lindbergh.
The more that this Panthers team sits back, the more the Jumbos are going to have to try and press. And this could become an ugly remake of the first few games of the season. That's part of the difficulty, Matt, with being a very offensively gifted team and a team that you expect to dominate a lot of opponents, is that the opponents will sit back and park the bus. And it's really hard to break down a good defensively drilled team. And Rob Wright has created one of those here for Plymouth State.
And a solid win from Halliday as Bescherano gets it to Tasker. Advantage played. And the ball is switched. It's Colsar now. Lawson plays it low. Bescherano trying to get a shot off, and it'll go out for a corner kick.
Great defense from the sophomore Dan Shaw, getting that out into the touchline and for a corner. But that was a really dangerous play from the Jumbos. Really had intention there. They knew what they wanted to do, and they almost achieved that. But for the Winchester native of England to get in the way. This will be an out-swinging cross. Felicity and Gaston Bescherano has combined there with Kevin Lawson. Kevin Lawson, the outswinger, delivers a great cross. Bescherano completely unmarked, just rises up, puts his head to the ball, and puts the ball to the back of the net. 1-0 Jumbos.
Front post header. Classic corner kick goal for the Jumbos. And with 39 minutes remaining here, they've finally cracked it open and lead 1-0.
Tufts University goal, scored by number 10, Gaston Bescherano. On the assist from number 13, Kevin Lawson.
That's his 4th goal of the season there, Gaston Bescherano. And he could get a 5th here.
Working to the top of the box, rips one, and he does! Gaston Bescherano in the span of 30 seconds. Curls it in back post. A brace for the senior.
And you noticed at the point in the first half when Gaston Bescherano stepped off that field to be replaced by Joseph Braun, the Jumbos really lost some attacking verve. And Bescherano's come back on, and just like that, you see him cut inside, eye up the shot, eye up the exposed part of Lindbergh's goal, and just deliver a beautiful curler right into the corner.
And you could tell he has the momentum when he got that ball at the corner of the 18. He cut in,
There's another
and the
Tufts
Panthers
University goal
defense
from
just
number
didn't step
10,
up in time.
Gaston
And we could see a
Becherano.
perfect angle from where we're sitting. He just curled that into the top right corner, right where we put that header not 30 seconds earlier.
And that'll be a second brace in 2 days for Gaston Becherano, perhaps a NESCAC Player of the Week candidate at this point. He now has 5 goals for the season.
So we didn't have time to tell you, but the Panthers will certainly have to change their tactics after not 1 but 2 goals, and they'll really be on the offensive here.
Bit of the curse of the commentator, Matt. I was talking so much about the Panthers and how they were successfully sitting back and were content to see this out for a draw. And all of a sudden, Gaston Becherano just makes this game all about him delivering those 2 goals. And suddenly, the Panthers and Rob Wright really have to change up. I don't know what Josh Shapiro and Rob Wright said at the halftime, but the Jumbos have come out here to play, and the Panthers just look a little tired.
So Becherano with now his team-leading 5th goal on the year. And Jamison gets that up to Tasker now. He'll play it to Becherano, who gets through past Shaw, and Lindeberg with the save coming out.
Good play by Lindeberg, kind of reminiscent of that one we saw in the first half when Becherano tried another chip and Lindeberg blocked it like that. But you have to think, third chance Becherano has. If he has to chip Lindeberg, he might not make the same mistake.
Becherano sitting on a hat trick now. Certainly like to add that to his career at Tufts.
Rutherford easily dispossessed. So resolute in the first 45. The Panthers defense is just completely falling apart here.
Tasker cutting inside.
A little heavy touch there from Tasker.
And he commits the foul there.
Bit too much manhandling there. Followed by Tasker on Mark Harrington, the sophomore.
Out for a Panther throw.
That'll be mishandled a bit by Tom Pileski, the center for the men's basketball team, the ball boy today. Better with a different type of ball in his hand.
And Randolph causing that deflection there. A little trouble for the Jumbos back line.
Stanchoff, though, tripped a bit, and that really didn't help him.
Randolph working down the sideline here.
Randolph's been the only attacking player who's looked to have any sort of energy. He's been running all day, but never really had the ball at his feet. If he had the ball at his feet, he'd be surrounded instantly by 3 or 4 Jumbo players.
And Randolph might have been fouled in the box there by Jamison.
And here's Becherano to try and start a counterattack. But he'll slow the tempo of play down.
Tufts in no rush with a 2-goal advantage and 36 minutes left. Halliday works it up to Tasker.
Scuffed cross there from Tasker, and that'll roll to Lindeberg.
And Randolph with a little shirt pull on Jamison, but Jamison gets his revenge with a nice step. And that's up with Kulsar on the right.
Good one-time pass from Kevin Lawson.
Lawson looking to cross. Instead, he'll cut it back. And one in the midfield there by the Panthers. Stanchoff cutting back. Rutherford finds Younglove. And Jamison with another step.
Jamison's been all over Randolph. He's just kind of put him into a Bermuda triangle with his defense. And Randolph has disappeared when covered by Jameson.
Lawson crossing.
Good idea to switch the play to Tasker. He's got a lot of speed, that freshman.
And Becherano a couple feet away from his third goal.
Oh, that was a hat trick there. Becherano had almost no work to do after Tasker made a good effort. And we're going to see a change here. Someone's going to come out for the Jumbos to be replaced by Zach Lane.
Looks like it'll be Lawson to the bench. But beautiful cross there on the ground by Tasker.
That could signal a sort of change in the style of play by Josh Shapiro here. Zach Lane is a more advanced player than Kevin Lawson. And he's a wing player too, Lawson Central, as Lindeberg receives. So they could be going to more of a 4-3-3-esque sort of formation where Lane and Tasker will really force the issue on those wings, which is where two of the goals were created.
Stanchoff on the sideline. Forced out by Lane. Halliday's pass intercepted. It's Randolph now.
Tasker calling for a long switch of play here. But instead, Weatherby opts to just pass it on to Halliday, and the switch play comes from him.
Tasker bringing it inside.
He looks bright, Tasker, raw but bright. Has a bit of issue, a few heavy touches, but his instincts are in definitely the right place.
And a great move by Harrington, working his way through the midfield, and it goes for Youngluff, but ball rolls through to Tasker.
Just a little far for the lunging Youngluff.
Becherano now. Brought down after he makes the pass. Advantage called. Weatherby plays it up to Halliday. And cleared out by Shaw. Tufts back in possession. Tasker now on the left. And with the right foot sends it inside the box, and Lane is almost there, but it sails past him for a goal kick.
Good idea from Tasker, just a little out of the reach of Lane. And we'll see a change for both sides.
And Yulseth and Eichhorst coming on.
Dexter Eichhorst. And entering the game
Looks
for
like
Plymouth
Harrington will
City,
come off.
Number 23, Trolls Julset.
As well as Kevin Halliday for the Jumbos. So some midfield substitutions here.
Eichhorst, again, an attacking midfield player. So it looks like the Jumbos are not content to sit on this 2-0 lead, and they're going to push for 3 at least.
And with their poor performances earlier in the year, the Jumbos know that these non-conference scorelines count come NCAA tournament selection time.
Yeah, and they won't have as much sway with the selectors. They won't receive the generous large bid that they would get as returning champions that they had last year. If they don't win the NESCAC tournament, they're going to have to be a very strong team to get a bid.
At the same time, would you rather go for a clean sheet and a 2-0 win here, or would you go for more goals at the risk of losing that clean sheet?
Well, the thing is, in this case, Matt, I don't think there is that much risk of losing the clean sheet. I don't think there's been a shot on goal for the Panthers all day, and it doesn't look like they're going to get one right now. So as long as they aren't threatening, I would definitely push for 3 goals. Because the thing about a 2-goal lead is if they get one back, then it gets dicey. But if you have a 3-goal lead, it's a much more secure issue. Because we saw Bescherano score 2 goals in quick succession. Panthers could be capable of that too. Third goal would mostly put it to bed.
Coleman clears up.
You can see the disparity in ability with the ball on their feet there, and that little interplay between Peterson and Tasker. Peterson gets his foot on the ball and then loses it, and Tasker just with a little nifty footwork gets away. Jumbos are one of the powerhouses of NCAA men's soccer in this Northeast region, and Plymouth State are not quite up to that level, and it shows here.
Bescherano with a backheel pass to Kulsar.
Nice idea from Bescherano.
Tasker now takes a shot, and that goes high over the left post.
Just a little high for Tasker, but I like the idea. He's had some good shots so far.
Now entering the game for Tufts.
It's like Bescherano will have to wait for his hat trick. Braun's going to come in to replace him. And meanwhile, Tasker's shot will be the last action of his spell in this game for now. Zachary Trevorrow, who we saw in the first half, has also replaced him. So a double change for Josh Shapiro. Like for like on both ends. Jumbos will continue to attack here.
And Kulsar sends it out to Eichhorst.
Great ball to Eichhorst. Trevorrow making the run. But interception from Shaw there. Good work from the defender.
And it's won back by Trevorrow, but a foul called on Eichhorst.
Just a little clip of the heels there on Eichhorst.
Shaw limping a little bit, and he'll go to ground.
And that's another injury there for Rob Wright, who lost Harvest Perez, the substitution in the first half, to a hamstring injury by the looks of it. But it seems like Shaw may continue in this game. Jumbo's meanwhile waiting on a substitution.
Header won by Junglof. And a foul called on Jameson, pushing Randolph there.
Little kick away from Jameson too, which almost got him in a bit of hot water.
Still no bookings in this game. It's been relatively calm, except for the little skirmish we had earlier in the first half.
But the referee's won a good game. He's called the fouls when they've been needed to be called.
Ball into the top of the box, bouncing there.
And it's been fairly free-flowing.
And Lane wins the battle there, away from Yulseth. And it's Trevorrow on the left, plays up to Braun, who's up forward now.
For a large size, Braun has a lot of speed when he gets those long legs going into stride.
Jameson now. And Randolph with the sliding challenge. Referee says he got the ball. And it's Junglof now with the step.
Randolph executed that perfectly. Otherwise, that's going to very likely be a foul.
Junglof working with Rutherford. He plays him a ball into the box, but it's worked its way to Johnson.
Good work from Coleman. Just got in the way of Rutherford's run without really obstructing the forward. That's not a foul, but Rutherford can't get on the end of the ball, and there's no issue for Bruce Johnson in the net.
And it's up to Braun. Eichhorst plays it down the wing to Lane. Remained onside. And he slides to save it in and forces a corner kick in doing so. Out by Parody.
Looks like Trevorrow is going to come and take this corner, and meanwhile we'll have a substitution. Zach Halliday, the captain, is going to come out of this game.
Number 8, Jack
And he's going to be replaced by a freshman from Morris Plains, New Jersey, Jack Delaney. Trevorrow for the corner.
And the in-swinging ball is low and cleared out, but it's back into the box. Lane leaves it off to Eichhorst. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, to Eichhorst. And it'll be out for a Tufts throw-in.
Micah Peterson just getting a foot in there, the sophomore for the Plymouth State Panthers. Mike Gorst will leave that to his fullback, Jamison, to take the throw. .25 minutes to go. Jumbo's up on a brace by Gaston Becherano right at the birth of this second half.
And the clear from Yulseth goes out. Another Tufts throw-in. So Tufts in no rush here. Just toying with the Panther defense. And Shaw clears it with the left foot. But it's Kulsar controlling in the middle.
Nice control there from Kulsar, bringing that down.
And it's Braun in the middle, and he one-times it. Wide goal.
Just tried to bring it down with his foot, but it was a little far out, and he couldn't do it, and it went out for a goal kick.
Kulsar unchallenged in the middle. Braun heads it on.
Nice idea with the flick on, but there was no one there. And that pass didn't have enough to get to Lane. And that's juggled a bit by McMillan, who's going to come in now to replace by, I assume, and yes it is, it's Tanner Jamison, another
Now
like-for-like
entering the game
substitution
for
as they did in the
Tufts,
first
number
half.
5, Stephen McMillian.
McMillian and Jamison are basically in a platoon in that left back role. Neither one of them has won the job as Sterling Weatherby did.
And it's Kulsar in the middle again.
McMillian more of an attacking fullback than Jamison.
Trevorrow on the left with the nutmeg pass up to Eichhorst. He'll let it roll to the goal line and send it back to Trevorrow. Crosses it low. Braun with a chance, and it's off the defender. That'll pop out for a corner kick for the Jumbos.
Nice turn, but the defender was right on Braun, and he had nowhere to shoot except at the Plymouth State player.
So some solid groundwork from these young Jumbos on the left side. McMillian, the in-swinger. And it's high to the back post, cleared out by Peterson.
Peterson had to clear that out. You can't let that ball go if there's a Jumbo behind you. And so they'll take another corner.
And a high ball sent in, headed, and it'll be off the Jumbos for a Plymouth State goal kick.
Substitution for the Panthers. It's Junglev coming off.
And it's Colin
Out
Jerome.
into the game for Plymouth State is number 20, Colin Jerome.
Colin Jerome, the freshman midfielder from Lansdale, Pennsylvania, will get his first action of the game here.
And a short goal kick there. And it's Braun at the top of the box battling with Shaw, and he fouls Shaw.
Just used him as a little springboard there to get up to more air, and you can't do that.
Plymouth State working against the wind in this half. to wonder if that's what's fueled the Tufts offense here to 2 goals, working with the wind. And Rutherford controlling. And he gets out of a challenge and is ultimately brought down to the ground again, wins the foul.
And Rutherford will take this free kick too. Plymouth hoping to get a goal back here, have the deficit and make this game more interesting and more dangerous.
And Rutherford's ball to the top of the box, bounces around.
Not the greatest ball from the Australian there.
Delaney had cleared it out. And now it's Trevorrow pressing.
It's good play from Trevor to get it onto Eichhorst.
And Eichhorst's ball finds Braun. That's Trevorrow now chasing to the goal line, but he can't get there in time to send in a cross.
Good interplay though from the Jumbos. A substitution here, a double change for Plymouth.
And it looks like freshman Luigi Villasmil coming back on. We saw him a lot in the first half. As well as Youngloaf coming back on.
And in the NCAA rules, you can come back on after taking a break in the second half.
Entering the game for Plymouth State, number 8, Eric Youngloff, and number 25, Luigi Villasmil.
Up with Braun. Battled hard there by Parody.
And he'll foul there. Braun just disrupting the play.
Braun definitely the person on this half of the field by quite a margin.
6'4", 200 pounds is Joseph Braun, the freshman from Yardley, Pennsylvania.
Intercepted by Lane and Weatherby there.
Not even the biggest jumbo on the field though. Jackson Nadger has him beat by 1 inch.
And it looks like Trevorrow took a shot off the eye or the forehead there, but he continues playing.
Almost has a nice back heel, but just doesn't really have much power in it.
Trevorrow still struggling. He'll take a knee here and
and it looks like they'll have to bring him off here.
Just a case of getting hit in the face pretty hard.
And there some jumbos are going to use this opportunity to take a water break as Nadger and Weatherby are running over.
Very humid day here. It feels like rain is imminent.
It's been threatening the whole day, but luckily for us and luckily for this these two teams, it's held off so far. I think it's expected in the evening.
For Tufts, number 13,
So Kevin Lawson coming back on for the Jumbos, replacing Trevorrow.
Trevor will leave with an injury on his face.
So Lawson will take over at left midfield. He had been playing on the right up to this point.
He's got skill in both feet, though, Kevin Lawson. He'll be able to adapt to that position easily.
And the header won there by Delaney. And McMillian sends it out of bounds. And Edmonds with the run there, but it's won back by Kulsar.
It's a very deep position to just start a run at goal from. Too
Eichhorst.
many players to run through.
Eichhorst down the right wing, and that's cleared out by Shaw. Eichhorst with a sliding challenge. And a good play from Delaney out to Eichhorst. Jumbo's threatening now. On the ground, it's Braun. He tries to turn. And a tough angle. He crosses in, but too high for Lawson. That'll be out for a goal kick.
Not sure if that was a shot or a pass from Braun. Looks like he directed it a bit at goal. Just went a bit high either way. But again, good play. And he's just missed the final touch there to get himself his first goal of his Jumbo's career.
Kulsar in the midfield. Up to Eichhorst. He settles the ball. And out to Lane on the right side. And Lane with a powerful shot. That's deflected by Lindeberg out for a corner kick.
And they'll go to the corner now. For Tufts, they get the week off. They resume play Saturday the 24th at Brandeis at 7 p.m.
Little derby match for the Jumbos. Nearby team with the Brandeis Judges.
The Judges beat the Jumbos last year 1-0 at Tufts at the Jumbos' former home, Kraft Field.
We both got to commentate that one.
We did. That was my first game, and it was not my most distinguished performance, but neither was it for the Jumbos. So the Jumbos will look to get a little revenge and keep their streak going if they can win here as well. Meanwhile, for Plymouth State, they also play on the 24th. They play a day game at Eastern Connecticut at 1 p.m. And that's an in-conference game for them in the Little Eastern Conference.
Tufts with a throw in here, deep in the left corner. McMillian crosses in, deflected out. And a substitution here. It looks like Brett Rojas will re-enter the game for the Jumbos, the tall midfielder.
And he's going to replace Dexter Eichhorst now.
Oh, entering the game for Tufts, number 29, Brett Rojas.
So Eichhorst put in a good workhorse-like shift there, and Rojas will now be left to continue that effort.
So just 14 minutes remaining in the second half. Tufts up top 2-0 over Plymouth State. And Lane with a could have gone for a bike kick there. Wisely did not.
Cross a little too deep from McMillian there for Lane to do anything.
Kolsar sends it back in high, and it's Lindeberg coming away with it off the challenge from Rojas.
Good physical goalkeeping from Lindeberg there. We've seen that a few times today. Flick on from Rutherford. Doesn't really come to anything.
And Nadjar kicks it away, and his foot might have clipped Rutherford by his face, but he seems all right. And a couple guys going to ground there, and Weatherby comes away with it.
A pass really into no one. Too much on it for Rojas to get on the end of.
And a risky challenge from Delaney with the foot coming up at the end.
Withdrew a little though, so not a foul in the end. No contact. Here's Kevin Lawson.
Delaney back out to Weatherby, but he can't chase that down in time. So Plymouth State with a throw-in in their attacking half.
Looks like Shapiro is going to sit back and play some of the lesser regulars on his team. He's taken out Bescherano, who's been the best player for the Jumbos today, and Lawson would probably be sitting if not for the injury to Trevorrow. Zach Halliday, the captain, not on the field.
And McMillian with the header.
Peterson had shanked that attempted cross earlier. Could have been dangerous.
Cleared out by Kolsar. And it'll be a Panther throw-in from their own half.
Game's really settled down here. Jumbos are just trying to kill all the momentum that the Plymouth State Panthers had built up, and they're going to go for a triple substitution here, maybe bringing back some of the starters.
So Bescherano, looks like Zazali, and Zach Halliday coming on for the Jumbos.
Entering the game for Tufts, number 3, Christian Zazali. Number 6, Zach Halliday.
Braun
and
Delaney
number 12, Joseph
and
Braun.
Kolsar to the bench.
Now entering the game for Plymouth State, number 18, Jackie Gordon, and number 24, Jerry Randall.
And thus resumes the search, the quest even, for Gaston Bescherano's hat trick. We're going to see a fourth substitution here. Sterling Weatherby is going to come off the field.
And for the Panthers, it was Jackie Gorton, the freshman, making his game debut. And Jerry Randolph, the freshman, coming back on.
Gavin Tasker's come back into this game, and it looks like he may be used in a right back role. Sort of makeshift position for the attacker.
Giving a rest to Weatherby, who's played every minute to this point.
Too much on it for Lawson to get to that ball.
Coleman sends the ball up the left sideline.
Confident from Connor Coleman. That'll be headed out by Bescherano, but
A foul called here on Dan Shaw.
that's a very dangerous position. We've seen what the Jumbos have done from set pieces. Bescherano's second goal coming from a first goal, coming from a corner. They're going to play this one short to Rojas. Rojas with the curler.
And we saw him use the outside of that foot in the first half with a dangerous shot. That one as well, but going a little bit wide.
Just kind of delivered a knuckleball there, and it knuckled the wrong way and away from the danger rather than towards it.
So under 10 minutes now. Jumbo's still up 2-0. Saw 2 goals early in the second half from Bescherano, bringing him to 5 on the year. And Plymouth State has not been able to respond.
There's Shaw passing it over to his defensive partner, Parody.
Lane now. And Rojas gets by his man. Sends it on the ground, and a back heel shot. No good from Lawson. Great save by Lindeberg.
Didn't really make much contact there, Lawson, but here's Zazali.
And that's in and off the bar from Bescherano, going for the hat trick.
So close yet again from Gaston Bescherano. Really nice delivery from Christian Zazali with a little low cross, and Bescherano just tries and hooks it under that crossbar, but doesn't hook it under enough. Goes in the underside and out.
Tasker in his new role at right back. And Adger plays it deep down the line to Lane. And a misplay there by Jerome, the freshman. Rojas sends it in. And Lawson will be called for the high foot there.
Yeah, it looks like Kevin Lawson there. 8 minutes to go, and barring a sensational Plymouth comeback, the Jumbos are going to go for 2 of 2 in terms of wins at their new home of Bellow Field.
Halliday wins the header in the midfield. And Bill Asmill challenging on McMillian. And McMillian coming away with it. Played out for a Panther throw. And Zazali with the win. Physical challenge. Bescherano coming down the left wing.
And this is a similar position to Bescherano's second goal, the stunner.
He'll cut it down, go to the goal line, and dribbles too hard out of bounds.
Dan Shaw there just boxes him out, not really going to give him the chance to do anything, and the touch too heavy. So that'll go to Lindeberg for a goal kick. Substitution for the Jumbos. And it'll be Zach Lane coming off the field.
Now entering the game for Tufts, number 18.
It'll be Josh Murphy,
Josh Murphy.
sophomore out of Red Bank, New Jersey, coming on.
Looks like Kevin Lawson will switch over to the right side, his preferred location. Murphy, listed as a defender, will actually play in the midfield.
And we'll get his first action with an interception there.
And there's that defensive instinct there.
Plays it up and doesn't quite get to Bescherano.
Just a little too little on that.
Zazali in the midfield.
Zazali, second baseman for the Tufts Jumbos baseball team.
And Randolph skirting around. And taken down hard there. Foul is called. Panther throwing. High throwing. Headed out by Murphy. McMillian heads it up to Rojas.
Little foot in from Halliday, and that'll be a foul.
Lawson called for the challenge on Villasmeal.
Got the ball, but he came from behind there. That's a dangerous play, and so the referee called a foul.
So under 5 minutes remaining. Plymouth State still looking to get on the board here. And it's Rutherford and Jungloff behind the ball. Jungloff will run in. Rutherford with the left. Plays it high, and it's no trouble for Bruce Johnson.
And maybe one of the first pieces of action that Bruce Johnson has had all game, Matt. Such has been the nature of the easy stroll to victory that the Jumbos have faced once the Bescherano's goals went in.
And Bescherano coming back from an offside position, called for it there.
I think Josh Shapiro will be very happy with the way that the Tufts Jumbos homestand has gone here. 2 games at home, 2 wins, first 2 wins of the season. Really a step in the right direction for a team that was just failing to find its feet in the first few weeks.
And Plymouth State winning a foul, and Micah Peterson flipping off members of the Tufts crowd. Referee not seeing it. Otherwise, Peterson would have seen red.
And he's getting some abuse now. It's just in a bad sort of sportsmanship there from Peterson. It's not what you like to see. At the end of the day, shouldn't be any animosity between these players. This is Ali, nice play.
And no goal there for Josh Murphy coming on.
Lindeberg comes off his line, has it covered. Down to 3 minutes to go. That ball to no one in particular will roll out for Jumbo's throw-in.
Now entering the game for Tufts, number 8, Jack Delaney.
And Jack Delaney, the freshman, back on for Tufts here.
Looks like Brett Rojas will, oh, excuse me, no.
And Delaney with the win on the sideline. He'll go up to Bescherano.
That might come through to Gaston, trying to get his 3rd goal. But no, well defended.
Parody there, getting it back to the keeper, but Bescherano with the pressure, almost forcing his hat trick there.
It's a microcosm of the Jumbo's day. They've been really good applying pressure, and they've won a lot of turnovers in the attacking third and in the opposing half as a result. Parody again on Rojas.
Rojas in the corner. And that'll be out for Plymouth State. Tufts in no hurry here with 1.5 minutes left to go in the game.
So bring a win here, which looks to be on the cards for the Jumbos, will bring them to 2-2-1 for the season. The Plymouth loss will drop them to 2-3-1 for the season, and will hand them their 2nd consecutive loss and their 2nd consecutive shutout.
Yeah, Plymouth State coming off a tough home loss to UMass Boston, 5-0 yesterday.
In the second half of play.
It's a deflating series of losses, Matt. 5-0 and 2-0. They lose 7-0 cumulative over 2 days. Granted, the Jumbos are very capable opposition. This is a team that reached the Sweet 16 last year for the NCAA tournament, but any sort of losses by big margins where you don't score goals can be deflating. Should be noted they entered this weekend too, the Panthers, with 1.6 goals per game, so they were a goal-scoring machine. And they've just been stifled here.
And it's Zali playing a ball in low, top of the box, and it's Rojas putting it in the bottom left. Rojas left uncovered at the top of the box and slides it past Lindeberg with 16 seconds remaining.
Great technique from the freshman who barracks his Tufts goal. Just chests it down, turns around, half volley, right into the corner, lower corner of the net. Brett Rojas makes it 3-0. So it's 16.1 seconds. It looks like Gaston Becherano's brace and Brett Rojas's final minute half volley will be the deciding factor in this game.
And
That'll
Plymouth
just
stayed
about
on the
do it.
wrong page there, but it doesn't matter. Under 10 seconds left. Jumbo's coasting to a 3-0 victory. All goals scored in the second half. Two of them early on by Gaston Becherano. A nice header off a corner kick and a curling shot from outside the box from the senior captain. And capped off by Rojas's shot from the top of the box. So Tufts with a dominating performance here in possession and in shots. Thank you for joining us. We are JumboCast. I'm Matt Macy Phelps with Charlie Driver here at Bellow Field. Tufts University 3, Plymouth State 0.